Welcome to Up Level, Real Health, Real Talk with Dr. Jenna Blasi. I'm Dr. Jenna. I spent years crafting ways to help women thrive, and I want to help you do the same. On this podcast, we dive deep into health at every level, focusing on the mind, the body, and the spirit. This is where real conversations meet transformational wellness. We'll be talking about all the things that truly matter, from nutrition and fitness to lifestyle, mindset, and personal development. Plus, the real deal on managing stress and navigating menopause. So if you're ready to elevate your health journey with authentic, transformative insights, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to Up Level. I am Dr. Jenna, and today we are going to dive into how the subconscious mind actually works and why this changes everything. So last week, we talked about the paradigm, introduced the paradigm to some of you, that hidden operating system running quietly in the background, driving 96 to 98% of your results without you even realizing it. And I'm going to guess that something landed for you. Maybe you started to see your own patterns differently. Maybe you caught yourself drifting back into an old habit and stopped and thought, wait, that's my paradigm doing that. That awareness is huge. That's actually the beginning of everything. But I imagine the question sitting in the back of your mind since last week is like, okay, Dr. Jenna, I get it. The subconscious is running the show, but how does that work exactly? How does it actually work? What does it respond to? How do I start to change it? And that is exactly what we're covering today. So let's break down first the two parts of your mind. Dr. Thurman Fleet in the 1930s, he was a doctor in San Antonio, Texas. He developed this illustration that he called the stick figure that Bob Proctor taught from for years to help patients understand how the mind's thoughts and feelings created physical results in the body. So let's understand, because it's a key part, the difference between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, because this is really the foundation of all of this. So I want you to picture a circle. And if you're listening in a place where you've got a journal or something, like draw a circle, like a basketball shape, and then draw a line across the center of the circle. So that line in the middle, right? You're dividing the circle, like picture a pie, you're dividing it in half right across the middle. The circle, or the part on top, the half on top, is the conscious mind. All right, that's the thinking mind, the educated mind, the part hearing this right now. The bottom part, the bottom half of the circle, is your subconscious mind. It's the feeling mind, the emotional mind, where your paradigm lives. Now the body, you can draw below, like draw a line, like the stick, that's the stick part of the figure, and then draw another circle, and that's the body. And so they're connected. And then you can draw a little hand, little stick, arms and legs if you want, but that's not needed in this drawing. The body's simply an instrument. So we have the conscious mind at the top, the subconscious mind, and then it's connected to the body, and the body moves based on what the subconscious is directing. So the conscious mind is the only part that can choose. It can accept or reject any idea, right? When someone says tuck to the hand, that's their conscious mind saying, I'm rejecting that. So the conscious mind is connected to the outside world through the five senses. You could draw 5 little antennae at the top of that circle that represent what you see, hear, feel, taste, and touch. And so this is where all the new information, intentions, and goals lives in the conscious mind. But a lot of what we're letting into the conscious mind is coming from these 5 senses. What you see as what you think is reality, right? What you see on the outside, then you're taking as real on the inside. So the conscious mind reasons, it evaluates, it decides. This is where that, Monday motivation lives. This is where those decisions that you're going to feel better and start to exercise live. The subconscious mind, the bottom part of the circle, has absolutely no ability to reject. It must accept everything that's impressed upon it. So that line in between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind is like your gatekeeper. And so the senses are taking in information. It's going into the conscious mind, which can choose what it accepts and what it rejects. But whatever it accepts and doesn't reject seeps into, just goes through, unless you consciously stop it, into the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind must accept everything impressed upon it, and it cannot distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. And then this controls the body's emotional vibration. Think of, if you start, let's say your loved one, your kids, they're not home when they're supposed to be home. And then typically we what if down rather than what if up, right? So we start what ifing, oh my gosh, you start picturing, cop cars and somebody in a ditch and like terrible things happening. Your body will start to respond to that. You'll have a visceral response. I remember one night, my husband was much later than he was supposed to be. And I just went into this downward spiral of like what could have happened to him, to the point of, I think I started crying, right? The subconscious mind does not know the difference, which is why like we're getting on stage, we're picturing, for those of us like ever been in a play or whatever, and then we start getting butterflies. We're having a visceral, nervous vibration response to the thoughts in our head. Oh my gosh, what if I forget my lines? Oh my gosh, what if this happens and that happens? So this subconscious mind is where the paradigm lives. It's where your results are actually being generated. This is really important to understand. It's where your results come from. If you don't like something happening in your results, in your health, in your relationships, in your income, in any area of your life, it's actually coming from the subconscious. So here's what this means for you practically. You can set the most beautiful intention with your conscious mind. I'm going to eat well. I'm going to move my body. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to get a better job with more money, like whatever it is. It doesn't have to be health. I'm going to have better relationships. But if the subconscious program underneath it says, I'm someone who always fails at this, I'm not worthy, et cetera, I can't do this, the subconscious wins every time. And it's not because you're weak. It's because that's how the mind works. So let's look into what the subconscious actually responds to. The subconscious doesn't respond to logic, information, or good intentions. It responds to repetition, emotion, and image. This subconscious was largely formed up until age 7. So up until age 7, you can take that basketball that you drew with the line through it and just take the top part off. And it's just open. Everything in your environment from the people that were around you was just going into the subconscious mind and forming out of your control your paradigm. All right. And so the two main ways this happen is emotional impact and repetition. So when we look at, so you can't reason with your subconscious mind with logic, with information, with good intentions. It responds to repetition, emotion, and image. So repetition, the subconscious learns through repetition. So if that's how it was set up, that is ultimately how we're going to reprogram it. So the same thought, the same belief repeated over and over until it becomes automatic. When we talk about autosuggestion, doing affirmations and things in other areas that you've heard about, or maybe some of my other podcasts, we're all doing that all day long. You're doing affirmations. You're not calling it such. You're doing autosuggestion, but it's usually of the things we don't want, the things that we don't like, rather than holding consciously what we do want, what we are trying to create. So the subconscious mind learns through this repetition until it becomes automatic. And this is how your paradigm, as I said, was built in the first place. It wasn't typically through like one dramatic moment, but through thousands of repeated impressions over years, like people being told they're not good enough, or you're stupid, or you're the heavy one, you're big bone, like whatever it is. And it can be a dramatic moment. Again, if there's emotional impact, and particularly when that emotional impact is from an authority figure, then that can go right in and affect the paradigm. But it's more often repetition. This is also how you change it, as I said, but not through one insight, through consistent, deliberate repetition of a new idea. So I want you to keep in mind that you can't think your way into a new paradigm in an afternoon, just like you can't think your way into the body you want in one afternoon. you begin, and what I would say, like on the positive side is like, but you can begin. You can begin impressing a new one starting today, right? It's not going to change in an afternoon, just like your body and your health isn't going to change in an afternoon, but you can start with your next meal, right? So with the paradigm, you can start with a new image. You can start with new thoughts, impressing a new one starting today. Number 2, the emotional piece. A thought combined with strong emotion moves into the subconscious much faster than a neutral thought. There's just an impact there. This is why fear-based health messaging is so sticky, right? It's charged with emotion. It goes deep. If somebody tells you something that you already don't like about yourself, the negative is so much easier to bring in, right? If someone says you're ugly, and you feel that way, it goes right in. Someone said, so people could tell you you're beautiful or you look great as you are 9 times, but the one time that somebody says the opposite is actually the one that you take in. So we can also look at how we're talking to ourselves. And so this is why that fear-based imaging, I'm not a fan of it because it goes deep. And this is why your vision for your health needs to be felt. It's not just a thought. All right. You need to actually get into the vibration with your vision of what it feels like to be successful. And not just your health, whatever you're trying to create, right? You can't create a better job and more money focused in the vibration and the energy and the anxiety of poverty. All right. So back to the health piece, it's not, I should exercise, but the feeling of what it's like to be in a body that feels strong and alive. And then the third one is the image, all right? The subconscious thinks in pictures, not words, all right? If I say feather, you're going to picture a feather, not the word feather. And it responds to the dominant image you hold of yourself. And I would add, it doesn't know truth from reality, and it doesn't know past from present, which is why getting in the feeling of what you want is so important. In the present, you don't feel good in your body, or you don't like your relationships, or whatever it is. You create in your mind what you want to feel like, what you want to look like, what you want your relationships, your health, etc., to look like. And when you continually impress that, the subconscious doesn't know that that's not real. So it actually, if you plan it with feeling and belief, and we're going to talk about this in future episodes, then you start having the behaviors, the actions of someone that already has those things, as well as the vibration, which puts out a magnetic force. So the image, the subconscious will respond to the dominant image that you hold of yourself. So again, if you're trying for something better, but the dominant image that you hold of yourself is, I'm not worthy of that, that's what will happen. Right? If the image is, I'm someone who struggles with my weight, who's always tired, who can't stick to anything, the subconscious will work tirelessly to keep you there. Remember, the mind always moves toward its dominant image, always, which means the image has to change before the results can. You've heard you are what you eat. We are what we think about. That's why our attitude matters immensely in all work and all results. Nobody won a race jogging, running, going, I think I can't, I'm going to fail. All right. All the success stories there's a belief and there's an image held of winning. All right. So the last part is what actually starts to shift when you understand this, because this is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. This is not about positive thinking. It's about deliberate impression. Most people are impressing their subconscious mind by default through worry, repetitive negative self-talk, and the dominant images they hold of themselves. So a lot of people talk about, this is just positive thinking or toxic positivity, right? Like this is the reality and I'm telling myself something that is not true. And what we see on the outside is representative of the past paradigm, right? If you've been in one bad relationship after the next, or one failed diet after the next, doesn't mean you're a failure, doesn't mean you can't get to where you want to go. It doesn't mean you can't have the relationships that you want. That quote unquote reality is only representing your past beliefs, your past paradigm. You can change that. So when you start envisioning a better future, a better relationship, better health, that's not lying to yourself. That's knowing if one person can do it, if one person can have it, so can you. And just knowing the steps to get there. And the thing is we're always impressing something. So it's like we're always eating something. I mean, unless you're fasting. Do you want to eat healthy? Right? It's not going to be perfect, but more healthy than not. Or do you want to eat more unhealthy than not? It's the same with your thoughts. Do you want more thoughts in your mind of worry and negative self-talk and all the reasons you can't? You will get that then. You will get all the things to be anxious about and you'll get that failure. So why would we choose that? Why would anyone choose to focus on results they don't actually want? So we're all impressing our subconscious. The moment you understand this, you stop being an unconscious reactor and you start becoming a deliberate creator. We're either extras in our own movies or directors. And most of us are going along like extras, feeling at the whim of all the circumstances and all of the outside things. But we can choose to direct. You start choosing. You make a decision. I'm going to be the director of my movie. All right. You start choosing what you impress, choosing the vision that you want through what you read, what you listen to, what you say to yourself, what you visualize. It's like if you want to clean up your diet and we start by maybe cleaning out the pantry, right? And then filling the pantry with the things and the refrigerator with the things that we want to be eating. It's think of that in your mind. Mind is upstream of everything. And the reason diets fail all the time, one, as I've said, they're not comprehensive and they're just like one spoke of a health wheel, but they're also, we've got to change this underlying paradigm because the underlying paradigm will keep bringing us back to that baseline, putting the same foods in the fridge, if you will. So think of a garden, all right? Your subconscious is like a garden. It doesn't care the seeds you plant. It will grow whatever you put in it with equal commitment. Weeds, flowers, something you can eat, something that could, poisonous, could kill you. And so the garden's not going to say, hey, don't plant that. You don't want that. That's not what you want. So you're either planting fear or possibility, the old story or the new one. The garden will grow. You are the gardener. You get to choose what gets planted. And remember, the idea that you can't have it because, I tried this for X amount of time and I didn't get there. Well, first of all, you probably didn't try it in the way that was really strategic and had all of the elements you needed for success. But the other piece is you may just not have done it long enough. We don't know the germination period for these successes. When you start with the thought seed, it will come to form. It will. The changed body, the changed relationships, the changed job, the changed income, the improve. I should say not just change, improve, right? The up level of your health, of your relationships, of your income, of your life, of your attitude, etc. It will come. But just like a seed that you plant in the garden, you don't keep digging it up. Where's that seed? When's it going to grow? And digging it up again. You plant it. You trust that it's going to grow if you continue to water it and water it. So most people are accidentally planting weeds without even realizing what they're doing. And then they're wondering why they keep getting weeds in their garden. And they wonder why it keeps growing because they plant the weeds and then they water the weeds. So this work is about becoming intentional with what goes into the garden, intentional with what you let through your conscious mind. We got to learn to accept and reject, accept only the thoughts that are in alignment with what we want and reject the things that are not in alignment with what we want. Plant that image into the subconscious. All right. So to close, this is where we're at. Last week, you started to see the paradigm, the hidden program running your results. If you didn't, go back and listen to it. This week, and even if you know this, we can't get enough of this. All right. The paradigm's strong. Paradigm is like master weed. Now we got to plant master flower. So the hidden program, running your results. This week, you understand how the subconscious actually works, what it responds to, and why information alone has never been enough. Next week, we're going to talk about something really practical, which is how you actually begin to shift the paradigm. I gave you a few little hints and tips around it today, but we're going to go into the specific practices that start to impress a new program. Because awareness without action is just interesting. Oh, that's interesting. And we're here for results, right? Awareness without action. Awareness without implementation, without integration and implementation, is useless. If you want to change your life, if you want to transform your life, we've got to put these together. All right. So this week, here's your assignment. I want you to notice your self-talk. And I have a past podcast on self-talk. Just notice it. Don't judge it. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just get clear. And specifically notice your self-talk around an area you'd like to improve. So a lot of you want to improve your health. But again, this could be relationships. This could be income. Because this is, to me, health is all of these things. Health is mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, etc. So get specific with your self-talk around that area that you really want to transform. What are the sentences and the things that you say to yourself out loud or in your head when you look in the mirror, when you miss a workout, when you eat something you didn't plan to, when a bill comes in? And write them down. Like, seriously, write them down, because it starts with that awareness. And writing it down helps us release it too, getting it on paper. But those sentences, those ideas, those thoughts, those are the seeds going into your garden right now. And then next week, we're going to start planting different ones. All right? Awareness first. Always awareness first. And then we can change. It's really, what we often say, like in health, what we measure, we can manage, right? It starts with awareness. So thank you all so much for joining me. If this is the kind of work that you want to go deeper on, this is what we do in my practice. So if you want to go deeper on this and not just understand, but actually apply this with support, this is exactly what we do inside UpLevel. So feel free to reach out anytime. hello@uplevelholistichealth.com. And as always, thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you next week when we get even more practical with this. Thank you for joining me on this episode of UpLevel, Real Health, Real Talk. I hope today's conversation inspired you to take the next step in your health journey. One that nourishes not just your body, but your mind and spirit as well. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you found value in today's episode, please leave a review. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep thriving. And remember, true wellness is a journey, and you are on the right path.